Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare. So we're here at the beautiful island of Govinda Dweep, and all the devotees have, amazingly, we all converged here from London and in Govinda Dweep. It wasn't planned like that, but here we are. We've had 4 days? 3 or 4 days all here in Govinda Dweep. And today is such a beautiful day. We came out and we're in the rowboat. And right now the wind is blowing us really far around. But we take every opportunity to read from the Bhagavatam. So we're going to do that right now. And we're going to take it in turns. And we can start by chanting the invocation all together. Everyone ready? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we're reading from the 3rd canto, 26th chapter, and we're reading text 3. And it just so happens that Siddhartha Prabhu is doing his Bhakti Vaibhav and is in this chapter also. So all the convergences are happening mystically. And this chapter is entitled, do you remember?
Something about material nature.
Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, and we're reading text number 3. Would you like to start?
Sure.
We're not reading just the translation in that. The purport. And we usually stop at the end of a paragraph and see if anyone has any reflections. Can everyone hear? You've got it there also?
Yeah, we got it.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a Supreme Soul, and He has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. He is perceivable everywhere because He is self-effulgent, and by His self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. That's the end of the translation.
Yeah, and you can read the purport.
Purport as well. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as being without beginning. He is Purusha, the Supreme Spirit. Purusha means person. When we think of a person in our present experience, that person has a beginning. This means that he has taken birth and that there is a history from the beginning of his life. But the Lord is particularly mentioned here as Anadi, beginningless. If we examine all persons, we will find that everyone has a beginning. But when we approach a person who has no beginning, he is the Supreme Person. That is the definition given in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, the Supreme Controller. He is without beginning, and He is the beginning of everyone. This definition is found in all Vedic literatures.
That's the end of the paragraph. Mm-hmm. Anyone has any thoughts, any reflections, anything that stood out to them while they were listening? Anything?
Definitely like the point where it said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is beginningless.
Anadi. So there is no beginning.
There is no beginning. Yeah, I was hearing a lecture the other day, and I think Prabhupada was saying that there's always the big debate, the God debate, that if we start about creation and we say God is the creator, then we have to ask the question, well, who created God? But by definition, God is Anadi. He's without creation. He is just the origin. He was always there, but to the materialistic mind, that doesn't make any sense. But that's why with that mindset, you can't understand God. So it's just a challenge. But those atheistic persons will always argue in that way because that's material logic, right?
Yes.
So, but actually, God has no beginning. So in this way, then we can understand it. But it takes a little bit of faith. It takes some spiritual understanding and acceptance.
But how do we then counteract that argument? Because that's something we always get, isn't it? You know, you say God created everything because, you know, the other, if you go against the idea of creationism, the Big Bang Theory and what have you, so they say, you know, everything happened because of a bang. You know, they kind of have something to trace back to, so the cause and effect. So how do we refute that point where there's no, how do you say God is, you know, God doesn't have a beginning?
Well, by saying God doesn't have a beginning. I mean, it's like one of those things. I mean, because what are they quoting? What are they actually citing as their proof? I mean, they don't actually have proof that everything came from a Big Bang. They don't have proof that all species of life have come from a primordial soup in which some little amoeba was the origin of this complex human being. You know, not that you're closer to an amoeba than any of the rest of us or anything, but you're the most complex, intelligent human being. So, you know, what are they quoting from? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So they speak authoritatively about mostly what is theory, like Darwin's theory of evolution. It's not actually, it's not a solid thing that has been exactly proven. Okay, and Prabhupada explains that in the Padma Purana, it also shows that there is evolution, but it's not an evolution of species, it's an evolution of the soul, and the soul passes through all of these different species. So their argument, for one, it's hard to win or try to counter and win the argument, but we have to have enough faith in our philosophy to be able to cite it and quote it. Prabhupada said, like a lawyer knows the law books. Like Prabhupada used to say, let me see if I can remember it. Prabhupada said he used to meet with these scientists sometimes, and he would say that the sun is closer than the moon. And they would say, how is that? And he said, because Sunday comes before Monday. They were like, what does that prove? And he'd say, no, that proves it. Sunday comes before Monday. The sun is closer than the moon. And they would be like, okay, Swamiji. Prabhupada, he didn't do it in a sarcastic way. He meant it. You know, why would they put it like that? And of course, there's a whole understanding of how the sun is closer than the moon. At certain times, it may appear like that. But we have to know the Shastra, and we have to be able to quote, no, God is the origin of all creation. He's always existed. He's original and primeval. He's never not been there, and everything has come from Him. So you say that life has come from a Big Bang. We say that there was also a point at which creation began, and we can describe that entire creation. It's there in the beginning of the second canto, and that the Lord actually, through His exhalation, the entire creation is manifested. And then you can tell Him how many years it lasts. And you can tell Him that from each of those exhalations, He then expands Himself and enters into each one of the universes. And therefore, He is the life force within. And when you start talking with conviction like that, they're like, wow, maybe I should go read my books a little bit more. So we have to know the books just like, you know, like a lawyer knows the law books. So we're convinced, we know, this is how it's explained in the Shastra. The Shastra is coming from, it's coming from divine origin. It's not like a man-made thing. Someone didn't make it up. And also so many things that are in the Shastra have also come to be proven. And you think, well, how did they know? What was it? Someone just sent me the other day. Oh, that people say, I think it's Galileo, said that the earth is round. Was it Galileo who decided that the earth was round originally, and then Christopher Columbus sailed and proved that you could go around? But actually, this person, he sent a picture, a picture of Lord Varahadev from one of the temples. It's like, now Galileo was like however many years ago, 1492, Christopher Columbus went, so that's like 500 years ago. But this temple is from like over 5,000 years ago, and there's a picture of Lord Varahadev with the earth on his tusk, and the earth is
round.
Hare Krishna. Sunday comes before Monday. What's happening?
I'm just sorry, conscious you got your head and your back to the camera.
Oh,
It might not be so
it's
nice.
okay. You guys are used to seeing my smiling face. It's all. So maybe anyone else? Any other comments? Does that answer the question or comment?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Someone else? Maybe one of the ladies can take a turn reading. Oh, you've got the.
You've got the second one. Second.
Yeah.
The Lord. Yeah, the Lord is.
The Lord is described as the soul or spirit. What is the definition of spirit? Spirit is perceivable everywhere. Brahman means great. His greatness is perceived everywhere. And what is that greatness? Consciousness. We have personal experience of consciousness, for it is spread all over the body, in every hair follicle of our body. We can feel consciousness. This is individual consciousness. Similarly, there is super consciousness. The example can be given of a small light and the sunlight. The sunlight is perceived everywhere, even within the room or in the sky, but the small light is experienced within a specific limit. Similarly, a consciousness is perceived within the limit of our particular body, but the superconsciousness or the existence of God is perceived everywhere. He is present everywhere by His energy. It is stated in the Vishnu Puran that whatever we find anywhere and everywhere is the distribution of the energy of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, also it is confirmed that the Lord is all-pervading and exists everywhere by His two kinds of energy, one spiritual and the other material. Both the spiritual and material energies are spread everywhere, and that is the proof of the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Jai, Prabhupada just answered your question. Anyone remembers the analogy? Can repeat back the analogy? Okay, so there's a water skier coming in a really fast boat, and if he slows down, then the water skier will fall in the water.
Oh my God!
He's going to go really quick, and we're going to start to shake really quick. So get ready. Here comes some good waves.
Oh dear! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Sorry? Wait, there's another boat. Like, 2 minutes time.
She's asleep.
You two are like exactly. She almost threw the phone and everything in the water. We're all good. We're good? We're still recording?
Yes.
Okay. We're still here. We survived. Here comes another boat though. Okay. Anyone wanted to comment on, not on the skier or the boat? Okay. The material world is full of distractions, staying focused on Krishna is very difficult.
I was going to comment there saying, like, when we were coming out of the temple building, we saw the peacocks.
Yes.
And you were saying, I mean, that's Krishna's
Yeah.
energy, and how just by studying the peacock, you can become God conscious. It's like, how did that come into being? Who thought of the blue color on the neck and the way, like, how do you conceive of such a beautiful bird? I mean,
Who gave the peacocks the feathers and peahens no feathers,
and it's just
just came out of the primordial soup. Crawled out of it one day. Just like that.
yeah.
By chance.
So you don't even have to step in the temple building and say, oh look, take darshan of Radha Govinda. You don't even need to go that far. Just study the peacock or just the feather of, just the design on the that in itself should convince you someone
the
did
symmetry
this.
of nature.
Yeah.
It's like everything is often so symmetrical. Any leaf, if you look at it, although it looks good, when you start to analyze it. I'm waving at some nice people here on this boat. Hoping they slow down.
Slow down tactically.
Not really.
No, they're slow.
They're not. going slow enough though, but yeah.
Yeah, the wave is coming. Yeah, yeah.
Here he's coming. Can you see it?
We can. Like, can you see it? Like, obviously you can.
So don't just be with the wave.
Oh look! The man's back.
We can. That's the real wave.
We're gonna die.
Just be with the wave. Just that. I mean.
Yeah.
Look at
It's been calm.
Nothing. Look at that one.
It's gonna go.
Be with the wave.
Don't let go of the phone.
Yeah, like that. Okay,
That is stupid. That is.
and we're all okay, no problem.
There you go.
One more time.
One more time.
I
It's
actually
coming, yeah.
subsided quite a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a really nice analogy given by Srila Prabhupada here for light and sunlight and consciousness being perceived, right?
This is quite, yeah.
Oh dear! What's going on here?
That's the big wave that we're riding here.
Look at me, the big wave.
Should we go back?
It's like I'm riding a horse.
Okay, we're gonna have to take a break. So we're back now. You can see there's another boat coming, so it's become a busy time. But we were comparing, and now the steadiness of the tripod has been shifted. So we were describing how we just parked up over there, and without doing anything, we moved all the way to the other side, and that's like the unsteady nature of the mind, right? It's always moving here, there, going somewhere. One minute you think you're parked up, the next minute you're all the way over on the other side of the universe. And in a moment, everyone's going to start screaming because the waves are coming. So. Here with us. This is our camera lady. Okay, so we're back into the Bhagavatam. We are going to finish this purport. We'll crash into the shore, whichever comes first.
If you actually
So, anyone remembers? I really liked how Prabhupada said consciousness is spread all over the body. In every hair follicle of our body, we can feel consciousness, right? So like, how do you know like a little bug is crawling on your skin? This tiny little bug just like touches one. If you just touch like one hair follicle, you feel, and that means consciousness is there because you actually sense it, you feel it. And we're gonna smash into the shore here. So I thought that was really. Anyone else could think of any other things that were said that stood out? Okay, everyone's like, just read the purport. Okay, another lady would like to read?
I can read the existence, right?
Yep.
Yes.
The existence of consciousness is everywhere, is not temporary. It is without beginning, and it is without, and is because it is without beginning. It is also without end. The theory that consciousness develops at a certain stage of material combination is not accepted herein, for the consciousness which exists everywhere is said to be without beginning. The materialistic or atheistic theory stating that there is no soul, that there is no God, and that consciousness is the result of a combination of matter is not acceptable. Matter is not beginningless, it has a beginning, and this material body has a beginning. The universal body does also. And as our material body has begun on the basis of our soul, the entire gigantic universal body has begun on the basis of the Supreme Soul. The Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadi Asya, this entire material exhibition, its creation, its growth, its maintenance and its dissolution is an emanation from the Supreme Person. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, I am the beginning the source of birth and everything.
So what was the essence of that? Anyone can remember without looking through it again? What was the essence of the statement of that paragraph?
It's again like the same as we started, isn't it? Lord is the beginning, you know, He's the creator and He's the essence of when, how everything started.
Matter isn't beginningless. Matter is called a beginning as well.
Yes, matter has a beginning. But the Lord is beginningless, so they're just... okay, cool. He's landed on there.
Like He landed
I don't know
there.
if that was a sign from God or what. Okay.
Blessing.
Anything else? Okay, so maybe Prabhuji, you can read the Supreme Personality.
The Supreme Personality of
All
Godhead.
good?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described here. He is not a temporary person, nor does He have a beginning. He is without a cause, and He is the cause of all causes. Para means transcendental, beyond the creative energy. The Lord is the creator of the creative energy. We can see that there is a creative energy in the material world, but He is not under this energy. He is Prakriti Para, beyond this energy. He is not subjected to the threefold miseries created by the material energy because He is beyond it. The modes of material nature do not touch Him. It is explained here, Swayam Jyotihi. He is light Himself. We have experience in the material world of one lights being a reflection of another. Just as moonlight is a reflection of the sunlight, sunlight is also the reflection of the Brahma Jyoti. Similarly, Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual effulgence, is a reflection of the body of the Supreme Lord. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Yasya Prabha Prabhavata. The Brahma Jyoti or Brahman effulgence is due to His bodily luster. Therefore it is said here, Swayam Jyotihi. He Himself is light. His light is distributed in different ways, as the Brahma Jyoti, as sunlight and as moonlight. It's a long paragraph. You want me to continue reading?
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita confirms that in the spiritual world there is no need of sunlight, moonlight or electricity. The Upanishads also confirm this. Because the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sufficient to illuminate the spiritual world, there is no need of sunlight, moonlight or any other light or electricity. This self-illumination also contradicts the theory that the spirit soul or the spiritual consciousness develops at a certain point in the material combination. The term Swayam Jyotihi indicates that there is no tinge of anything material or any material reaction. It is confirmed here that the concept of the Lord's all-pervasiveness is due to His illumination everywhere. You have experienced that the sun is situated in one place, but the sunlight is diffused all around for millions and millions of miles. That is a practical experience. Similarly, although the Supreme Light is situated in His personal abode, Vaikuntha or Vrindavan, His light is diffused not only in the spiritual world, but beyond that. In the material world also, the light is reflected by the sun globe, and the sunlight is reflected by the moon globe. Thus, although He is situated in His own abode, His light is distributed all over the spiritual and material worlds. The Brahma Samhita 537 confirms this. Goloka eva nivashati akilatma bhuta. He is living in Golok, but still He is present all over the creation. He is the super soul of everything, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He has innumerable transcendental qualities. It is also concluded that although He is undoubtedly a person, He is not a Purusha of this material world. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand that beyond this material world there can be a person. Therefore they are impersonalists. But it is explained very nicely here that the personality of Godhead is beyond material existence. That concludes the purport.
Wow.
Enjoy.
Okay, anyone? Anything stood out for them? It's quite a deep purport.
I like the way Prabhupada step by step showed that, very scientifically of how this is reflected, There's basically a source. The material scientists may not know the source, but the Vedic teachings, particularly the Brahma Samhita, lays it out very clearly of how it's from the Supreme Lord it reflects. the Brahma Jyoti, sun, moon, everywhere else, the energy gets dissipated or shared. Dispersed. Thank you.
Yeah, it's quite powerful. It's quite scientific, you know.
Yeah.
Again, if you were to try to explain that, like if you actually yourself grasped that, understood it, read the Brahma Samhita and thought, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because it does make sense. You know what I mean? If you think that God is the source of everything, He's the source of all light, and His effulgence is lighting up this world, and it's reflected through the sun, that reflects off the moon, that gives, you know, but people are like, okay, prove it. Okay. Proof I came from the monkey. And then you go back and forth on that. But
The source of the sun.
yeah. What's that?
Even the source of the
Prove
sun.
the source of the sun. Yeah. So what is the source of the sun then?
I have no idea. Big Bang.
Anyone else? Any thoughts?
Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna is the source of the sun.
Krishna is the source of the sun. The source of the moon, yes. That's what Brahma Samhita says. Okay. Anything else? Anyone like? It's so simple.
She's got faith.
She has faith, yes. And that's Prabhupada said, it's simple for the simple, right? Not that you're simple in that weird way, but yeah, it's simple. Or you can make it very complicated and it's all complex. But yeah, it's very simple. Krishna is the source of everything. He's the source of the sun and source of the light of the moon. And like that, so wonderful. Any final thoughts? Who hasn't said anything? Anyone who hasn't spoken yet? I think everyone has shared a little something. Even the person you can't see behind the maybe she spoke. That's amazing. Okay. All right, so we conclude here. Because by the way, we've like run ashore now. The wind has blown us into the reeds, so it might take us hours to get out of here. Okay. All right, thank you all very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam A.C. Jai! Prabhupada A.C. Jai! Sadhu Sangha A.C. Jai! Boat Leela A.C. Jai! Bendadweep Ireland A.C. Jai! Shrath A.C. Jai! Iskon Ireland A.C. Jai! Go Premanande.
Hare
She was into it. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Well done.